Hello and welcome to our lesson on rhetoric, aims, modes, and organization. Today's goals are to define the aims of rhetoric, modes of discourse, and rhetorical organization strategies. Some aims of rhetoric, aims of communicating, are to persuade, which would be buy my product or vote for me. To inform, which would be your nightly news or your weather report. To express, which would be your journal writing, your fiction writing. And to entertain, which might be more comedy or script writing for TV. Modes of discourse are exposition. This would be illustrating a point. Narration would be telling a story. Description would be creating a sensory image of your five senses. And argumentation, which would be taking a position on an issue and defending it. There are several rhetorical organizational strategies that we will be discussing here today. The first is compare and contrast. It's a method of presenting similarities and differences between two persons, places, things, or ideas. You can organize compare and contrast in multiple different ways. You can do subject by subject, in which you might have several paragraphs on subject A and then several paragraphs on subject B. You might be a point by point compare and contrast, where you make one point about subject A, and in the next sentence or paragraph you make the next point about subject P, and repeat, or a combination. Oftentimes longer essays use both styles. Cause and effect. If you're writing a cause and effect organization essay, you will be establishing a relationship that something is the result of something else. In this case, B is the result of A. You want to use facts and statistics and authorities, anecdotes, cases, real or imagined scenarios, any way that you can establish that there is indeed a cause and effect relationship. Classification separates items into categories and details the characteristics of each group, why each member of that group is placed within the category. So I might have a group of students, and then I might have to further classify why I put each student into that group. Process organization is a how-to paper. It gives instructions or informs reader how something is done. A definition essay or argument will identify the class to which a specific item belongs, and those characteristics which make it different from all other items in that class. We can do physical definitions, historical, emotional, psychological, relationships to others. In your 5 Steps to a 5 book, an example of this might be bug dust, which you can find on page 132 and 131. Narration is, simply put, storytelling. It's telling an anecdote. It has a traditional plot, it has a beginning, middle, and end, but you should have a reason for telling a story within an essay. It also has a point of view. And finally, we come to description. If you are using appeals to the senses, you're probably going for a pathos appeal. You'd be using imagery. You can describe something, what happens chronologically, spatially. You can emphasize more important details or emphasize on the most noticeable detail. You can use literary devices in description. You can make an analogy, show how something is like another thing. You can use specific words. You can appeal to the senses. You can use personification, hyperbole. You can compare something to another. Compare and contrast is also description. Use onomatopoeia, figurative language, any way to paint a picture in our heads. Give it, describe it, give examples. And that is our lesson on organizational strategies, aims, and modes.